Venezuela is pushing barrels to the United States again, and this time the number is big. According to market sources, Chevron plans to increase its exports of Venezuelan crude to the United States to about 300,000 barrels per day in March, up from nearly 100,000 barrels per day in December and around 230,000 barrels per day in January. What's happening behind the numbers? First, logistics and inventory drainage. Chevron has reportedly chartered about a dozen tankers to increase liftings and drain crude accumulated in tanks and ships since December, when an operational shock/blow to exports left millions of barrels sitting in storage. Second, stable production from the joint ventures. The 4 Chevron PDVSA joint ventures are reportedly producing roughly between 240,000 to 250,000 barrels per day of heavy crude, exactly the type of crude that fits with US Gulf Coast refineries. And take note, cuts applied by PDVSA to other fields have reportedly not affected the projects where Chevron operates. Third, it's no longer just Chevron. For months, Chevron was the main channel authorized by Washington to export Venezuelan crude under a sanctions exemption, but now competition is entering. Vitol and Trafigura also received licenses to move crude, and it was Venezuelan crude under a large supply agreement. Approximately $2 billion is mentioned. That changes the game. More actors, more possible liftings, and more pressure on prices and scheduling. Trend Vision's take is that if Chevron manages to sustain roughly 300,000 barrels per day, this impacts 3 things. 1. Flow to the Gulf, more heavy feedstock, inventory in Venezuela, less idle crude, and the freight market and loading windows, more tankers, more rotation. This is Trend Vision, understanding oil like a professional. If you like these videos, give it a like, subscribe, ask, comment. Thank you.